Welcome to you all. On behalf of the Capital City Economic Development Authority, my name is Bill McHugh. I am the chairman of that authority. Today, with this bridge, we permanently join the Connecticut Convention Center, the riverfront, the Marriott Hotel, our new Science Center, and our soon-to-become entertainment district, Front Street. The bridge is a critical piece that allows each of these successful components of Adrian's Landing to share with each other their successes through a convenient way of passage from one to the other. And that's why this bridge is so critical. And it is the final step that brings all of these things together for the flow of traffic. The successes of these individual components, let me just quickly share with you. The riverfront, 1 million visitors each year. The convention center, in 6 years, 1,200 events, 1 million visitors. The Marriott Hotel, in 6 years, 700,000 overnight guests, and as well, 6,000 events were executed there. Our newest addition, the Connecticut Science Center, has in the 2 years that it's been open, greeted and welcomed almost 100,000 visitors. And soon to come, the Front Street Entertainment District, which will include theater and music attractions, will add to the whirlwind of activity that surrounds all of Adrian's Landing. And that should come by the beginning of next year. We are most hopeful. And all of this we call Adrian's Landing. If this bridge is so critical, and believe me, it is, then it ought to have a name. There is one Hartford resident. There is one Hartford mayor. There is one Hartford advocate and enthusiast that played the critical role comparable to what this bridge does today when there was nothing here and helped to bring it all about. And so it is that we today remember him, and in memory of him we dedicate and we open this bridge, the Mayor Mike Peters Bridge. Let me get you to the important speakers. We wanted somebody that could come up and talk about what it's like to be a 4-term mayor in a big city. So we went and we got one that was a 7-term mayor in Stamford. We thought that'd be pretty good. But he's got a new job now. It's a job that a lot of people would like to have, but they don't want it right now. Let's bring up the hardest working guy in Connecticut, Governor Dan Malloy.
Hey, it's great to be with everyone, and I wish I could stop the traffic, but that's a federal road. It's great to be with everyone. You know, I knew Mike Peters, and instead of just calling the bridge the Mike Peters Bridge, I think this should be Mike Peters Landing. You know, I would go for the big thing. Mike Peters was one of these bigger than life, bigger personality than you could possibly have individuals who cared so deeply about his family and his community. He was an inspiration to everyone that knew him. The attendance here today attest to that. You know, I loved him. He had a great sense of humor. There was nothing, no airs about Mike Peters. He loved his city. he loved his people, he loved his family, and he wore it on his sleeve every single day. He was a great man in our midst who made every day a little brighter any day that you saw him. In some of Hartford's darkest days, he literally carried the city on his back. When people said it was down and out, he wouldn't let them say it again. He was a patriot and a patron of his city. And really to mark the occasion and name this bridge, which ties disparate functions and disparate buildings together, is really in so many ways a lasting tribute to what he did. He brought people together. He made them see what they had in common. He made them work together. So to have a bridge named after him is really quite a tribute. Now I want to say this to his family. You had to put up with him. And in putting up with him, you gave him to this great city. I want to thank you. You should take, as you do, rightful pride in all of his accomplishments as well as all of your own. Thank you for lending him to the fire department for 22 years. Thank you for lending him to the city of Hartford as its mayor. Thank you for allowing us to name this bridge after him. Your sacrifices that promoted him in his public service are well appreciated. May God bless you all. May God bless the city of Hartford. May God bless the memory of our friend, Michael Peters.
I hope everyone can see that. This is the Mayor Mike Peters bench. Ladies and gentlemen, to bring the greetings of the city and reflections on Mayor Pedro Sequeira.
Thank you. Good afternoon, and it's indeed an honor to be with you here this afternoon, along with so many people who had the great privilege and honor, as well as having been inspired by Mike Peters. For me, indeed, this bridge is so symbolic in terms of all the work that Mayor Peters did in our community, even before becoming mayor. For me, he was not so defined by being a bridge builder, but also instilling that humanity and that love for our city. Oftentimes when I meet people, they said, "You remind me a little about Mike." And I think what they're referring to is not so much what I do, but an expression of love for the city, because that really was the true person and nature of Mayor Mike, to really do everything with his love for the city. To build bridges such as this one, it takes a lot of brick, a lot of iron, a lot of mortar, a lot of technology, but to build bridges amongst communities really demands some elements that are just oftentimes very difficult to find. And I think that what Mayor Mike has and what he has instilled in many of the people that he came across was those human values that really transform the inner spiritual and the inner love into the workings of government, and that was very special. So for me, it is important today to be here along with some of the people that work with him, our Corporation Counsel, Sandy Key Borges, as well as our former Corporation Counsel, now the Honorable Kevin DeBay, Michael Collins, and other folks that are here, too many to mention, that really were inspired, truly inspired by Mayor Michael Peters. So this bridge is so representative, and we hope that as we move the city forward, that we can find other institutions that really do Michael Peters full honor of his memory for all that he has done for Hartford, but more importantly, all that he has done to create and instill in each and every one of us a sense of hope, a sense of pride, and a sense of real strong devotion, love, and commitment to the city. So thank you very much. I don't want you to get more of this sun tanning out there, but it's a great day, it's a beautiful day, and may the memory and love of Michael Peters live for all eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Segura. A lifelong Hartford resident who numbered among Mayor Mike's closest allies and friends the former Speaker of the House, Tom Ritter. Thank you, Bill. And thank you so much for doing this today. And where's Brendan Lynch? A special thanks has to go out to Brendan Lynch, who really worked so hard to put this together. Where are you? All right. And I'm sorry I don't have my jacket on, but I did use the Peter Sullivan protocol and asked Geraldine whether it was okay, and she said it was okay not to wear a jacket up here. Also, let me say, Governor Malloy and Mayor Segura, I know that if Mayor Mike was here, he'd be so proud because he was staunch supporters of both of yours, and to know that the offices you have, he'd be, again, very proud, and that's the groundwork that he laid here. Quickly, let me say that, Mayor Mike was just a great friend. I mean, never mind politics and everything he did, you could never find a nicer man to be a friend with. And we used to, the last few years of his life, we probably talked 4 or 5 times a day, just the kind of things that friends do. And his loss was a very personal loss to so many of us, as well as obviously to the city. I used to think this poor man had the burden of the whole city of Hartford on his shoulders, and no man should have that burden. And I said that to him all the time. You have to figure out ways to get other people, but just everybody flocked to him, and that was just the way it was here in Hartford because of his personality. Let me tell you, in terms of the CETA legislation, when obviously this is a very significant piece, and back then, Governor, believe it or not, Hartford was not the most popular city up at the legislature. So I asked the mayor, I said, please, come sit behind the podium, and he did like the last week of the session. And everybody's coming up to him. You know, he didn't know anybody. And they're all coming up, and he goes, hey, Bobby boy, hey, Jim, hey. And I go, what'd you talk about? He goes, oh, this guy wants tickets for the Rolling Stones. This guy wants, I think he convinced people like Elvis Presley was still alive. He'd get tickets for Elvis Presley. But, he never wrote any of it down. And I said, well, how are you going to straighten it out later? He goes, oh, no, don't worry about it. They'll call me. And that's just the way it was. So anyway, again, thank you so much for all being here on a sunny day. Jimmy, thanks so much for coordinating it all. And thanks so much for caring about a man I truly love. Thank you. At the very outset of all of this, it was only a concept. Please welcome the man who transformed the concept into what we have today as the first chairman of CETA, Arthur Andersen.
Thank you, Bill. I'm not so sure how true that is, but I can tell you this, that if Mayor Mike was here today and he looked over this bridge and the bench, he'd want an addition, a hot dog stand. And if he had reviewed the list of speakers today, he would have been proud and honored, with one exception, and he would have demanded that I be deleted from the list. He would have said, look, first of all, Arthur's not funny. And secondly, I can't stand being called a butt-for. Thousands of people spend tens of thousands of hours fashioning and building these and the other pillar projects. However, but for Mayor Mike and Tommy Ritter and the former governor, none of these would have happened. And I don't think it was just fortuitous timing. Mayor Mike earned the respect of the legislative branch to a degree, and maybe ticketing, and the executive branch, and in turn, they invested in Hartford, and they invested in him. Hell, the Vice President of the United States befriended Mayor Mike, and that head-patting United States Attorney General, Jan Marino. I dare say that during his lifetime, no Hartford mayor has been more beloved by his constituents, the suburban neighbors, as well as the leaders in our community. Mayor Mike was not only a but-for in the reshaping of our public housing and in executing the first major reforms in our school system and in waging an attack on the gangs that are plaguing Hartford and in governing in an open, honest, and effective manner, Mayor Mike instilled in us a hope for a future and a hope for a better Hartford. Maybe some figured that they could do it too, but not so fast, my friends. Mayor Mike, his love for the city of Hartford and for us was palpable. We wanted him to lead us to brighter places, and he did. Today's honor is appropriate, but obviously symbolic, because for most of us, Mayor Mike lives in our hearts. But for Mayor Mike, our city and we would have been lesser. This is my toast to Mayor Mike.
It just occurred to me that those of you that are standing may not be aware of who's sitting up in front. And certainly due recognition is our fabulous Lieutenant Governor Nancy Lyman. Nancy, would you stand up so that... And I'm also reminded that I said to you that there were 100,000 visitors to the Science Center. And in fact, I know there were several 100,000, in fact 600,000, I'm told, in a short period of time, a testimony to the value of such an attraction at this point, at this time. Let me introduce to you, to speak for the Peters family, Mike's son, Chris.
Thank you, Bill. Had I known a couple days ago that I'd be following Governor Malloy, Mayor Sigaro, Tom Ritter, Arthur Anderson, I would have faked laryngitis. Absolutely. But thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor for my family, for the city of Hartford. I know my father would be so proud to be here today, to be a part of something that he worked so hard on trying to get off the ground, and his passion for this city and what it can do and what he believes this city is capable of. And this is just one more step in that dream that he had, and I hope that everybody here doesn't ever let that die. This city's our city, and he loved it, and we all should love it the way he did. And again, on behalf of my mom and my sister, Michelle, my brother David, the whole extended family, we thank you so much for being here. I want to thank Brendan Lynch. Really did a nice job keeping me in the loop, keeping my family in the loop of what's happening with this bridge dedication and the bench dedication. Arthur and Tom, Holly from McGovern Granite for doing such a beautiful job on this bench. I want to thank the business community and all the corporations for donating their time and effort to make this possible today. These were developments that he was very excited about, and to be the bridge that connects them all, as Bill said, is really something tremendous. This is something that his grandchildren can come to with their children and say, wow, this was your great-grandfather, and so forth and so on. And I think that's really remarkable to have someone that, my father, someone that was in our family, someone that was your friend, to have something so wonderful built. Governor sort of touched on what a sacrifice it was to share him with the city, share him with the fire department, and it was at times, you know, it was difficult. Didn't see him as much as maybe you'd want to see him. You know, I always considered my father my best friend, and he'd bring me along and we'd do stuff all the time, but he had business to attend to, and he would never not say hello to somebody. And that's the way my father was. We were out in the street and he'd be hanging out with him. If we're at a restaurant or whatever he may be doing, he's going to always stop and say hello to someone that wanted to talk to him. In fact, it even worked the other way around. He loved to wave to people. There's a story I told way back when. Some of you may remember it. I'll tell it again. I called my father the Mad Waver. And we used to go out in the street, and I remember one time we were shopping for Christmas, and he's just waving to people. They're across the street, he's waving, they're up in a window, he's waving. And I said, Dad, it never occurred to you, maybe possible, there's one person that you're waving to that just doesn't know who you are. maybe they're just not big into politics, I don't know. And he said no. So about a week later, I get off of 91 right over here at Airport Road, and I see his car at the red light. He must be going home. And I pull up right next to him, and I'm looking at him, and I'm waiting for him to look over and recognize me. And he looks over, he waves, and looks back at the light. And about a second or two goes by, he looks back over at me, and says, all right. Really quick, I just want to touch on one thing that's very important, close, and dear to us. The foundation that we started shortly after my father's passing, Go Hartford, Mayor Mike's Foundation for Kids. My siblings and my cousins and some very close friends started this foundation. We started this foundation to continue the work that Mayor Mike's Companies for Kids did when he was in office. Obviously, we're much smaller, we're a little more grassroots, we're unable to raise that money that he was able to raise when he was in office. But today, we're upwards around $60,000 that we've raised for children of Hartford, and mostly for youth sports. And a lot of you here have donated to that, so thank you. But we need more help. And you know, I think it's very important not only to worry about how many people are coming into the city. I think those are wonderful numbers that we were talking about. But also really incubating the city and the children within our city. And building from within. And hopefully what we do with our foundation helps programs like Little League, Saturday Hoopsters. Saturday Hoopsters had 500 kids in it this year. You know, Little League, the Mayor Mike Little League in the South End, the Little League that my brother and I played baseball in, had over 250 kids. And we're really trying to support that as best we can. So please, get involved in the community, get involved with the city. I know he'd want it. So we miss you, Dad. We love you. We're very proud of you. Thank you so much.
The governor has given me a reprieve. If you're not all enjoying the heat as much as I am, there's a proclamation to be read, and he has forgiven the reading of that, which I very much appreciate. And I should have told you, Governor, though, that if Mike Peters were here, he would have said, have that fat SOB from the Britain read it and sweat. He turned me down for my first loan. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the governor and the family come up and cut the ceremonial ribbon. Before we do that, please note that at the end of the bridge is the Bridge Cafe. It is open 5 days a week, Monday through Friday for lunch, and it's open for you up there now if you haven't eaten. I think it'll be a treat for you, and I hope you look forward to that. And then let's all be hopeful as we leave here today that this bridge will last forever and be important and critical to the city of Hartford, just as Mike Peters will always be critical and important to the city of Hartford. Thank you all for coming.
1, 2, 3. There.